What up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're doing something that involves the entire NFL. This is something that's really strange. I don't know why I had this idea. It was super hard to do, but I just kind of went with it, and I decided just to do it for fun. So if you guys, disagree with me on a lot of these things, I completely understand because, these are kind of my opinion, but kind of based on needs and based on what the team is looking at, like, according to their news. Obviously, I'm a Lions fan, so I know more about the Lions than any other team, but I thought this would be fun to do because I really haven't seen anyone else do it, and I thought it was kind of a cool idea. So let's just get it started. We are going to be looking at every team's dream draft pick, which basically means, if a team could look at the draft board and say, this is the guy, man, if it works out perfectly, we could get this guy. This is that one guy that I would love to have. Now, some of these teams actually have multiple players. I put multiple players for a few of these teams just because I think there's a couple of dream picks, especially if you're later in the draft. Now, I also try to keep it somewhat realistic. I know it's hard to make something a dream, but also keep it realistic. But I think, dreams can be real. If I'm not going to say a team with the second round pick is going to get Chase Young, that may be their dream, but it's obviously not going to happen. But maybe if there's a guy that's projected to go 10 spots ahead of them, potentially, if things go really strange, maybe, everything works out in their favor, their dream draft pick or the guy that's really, really far away somehow gets to them and they're able to select their guy. So there you go. Let's just get this thing started. We're going to start off with the Cleveland Browns. There's really no specific order. We're kind of going by division here. So starting off with the AFC North, we have the Cleveland Browns, and this is Andrew Thomas. So the Browns need an offensive tackle. They have a few needs. I think linebackers, one, maybe cornerback. But I went with Andrew Thomas. I believe he's the best offensive tackle in the game, and they pick at number 10, which means out of the big three, okay, when I say big three in this video, understand the big three is the big three tackles. Tristan Wirfs, Jedrick Wills, and Andrew Thomas. I think Andrew Thomas is the best out of all of them, and if somehow that guy could fall to number 10, I'm sure the Browns would love it, but I'm sure they'll take a tackle out of any of the three. I'm sure they'll take any of the three. So that is Andrew Thomas, and that's kind of how this is going to go. Kind of realistic, not really, just a little bit of realism, but also a lot of dreaming, and that's good. At number 49, or not at 49, at the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have the 49th pick, which is the second round pick. If these are a little off, whatever I was using for my resources must have been off, though, but I'm pretty sure these are all good. I double-checked. The Pittsburgh Steelers, who selected the second round with the 49th pick, they don't have a first-round pick. I have their dream draft pick is Yetur Gross-Matos. Now, I think Gross-Matos could go very into first, somewhere in the second. I think he's going to fall as far as the second. I don't think any further he could fall. So maybe somehow he falls to the Pittsburgh Steelers who need an edge rusher. Boom. I think he's a really good edge rusher, but I also don't think it's a guarantee that he's going to go into the first round. So maybe he falls into the second. Maybe the Steelers get him. And I think that'd be huge for them, and they would love that. Next up is the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know how to do the Bengals. How would you do the Bengals? Tell me, please. I don't know. Their dream draft pick is the guy that they're going to select. I have no idea. I just put Joe Burrow. We're going off the first pick in the draft, their first pick in the draft. So Joe Burrow? I don't know. Bengals fans, you can let me know. Next up is the Baltimore Ravens, and they have the 28th pick in the draft, and I have their dream draft pick as A.J. Epinesa or Javon Kinlaw. Now, Kinlaw's on here because I actually think his draft stock is really rising. I think a lot of teams are interested in him. I can see this guy going top 15 pretty easy. And I think, obviously, from 28 to 15 is a pretty big jump. And A.J. Epinesa, I also think his draft stock's going to be high because everybody needs pass rushers and edge rushers. But they need one. The Ravens need that, okay? They need an edge rusher. And I think both of these guys can do it. Kinlaw, more of an inside type of guy, but he can play on the defensive end if you have to. And he's just so good right now. I don't know how anybody wouldn't want him. I would love to have Kinlaw. Now, I wouldn't want him to pick him at number 3, but I would love to have him right after 10. You know what I'm saying? So he comes in here for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, next up is the Buffalo Bills, and they pick at number 22. They need a wide receiver. And this one's kind of hard to do because, you really don't know why receivers are going to fall. I put Jerry Jeudy. Now, that one seems really out of reach and maybe impossible, so I also put T. Higgins. I feel like T. Higgins could go right before them, maybe a couple spots before them to a team that does need a wide receiver, so I think Higgins would be really nice. I really like T. Higgins after watching him in the playoffs. He looked really good. But Jerry Jeudy, I think he might be the best wide receiver in this draft. So, yes, they would love to have him, but I just feel like he's a little far away, so I put 2 there to make it easier. Next up is the Patriots. Boom. I put Jerry Jeudy again. The Patriots need a wide receiver. They need a weapon on the outside. Obviously, they would love Jerry Jeudy. It's not super realistic, though, with the 23rd pick in the draft, especially if the Bills have the 22nd. It's not realistic for them. I also put on A.J. Epinesa. They need an edge rusher. Epinesa, you never know. I think Epinesa has potential of falling. He could also go high because pass rusher is always needed, but he could also fall because there is a lot of them. So I don't know. And then finally, I put Gross-Matos, who I think is more realistic. I actually did a mock draft I think I did a full mock draft, and I had them selecting Yetur Gross-Matos. So I feel like that's actually a good pick for them, so I kind of threw that in there. Not every team has that on this list, obviously, but I thought that'd be something to just throw in there. Next up, Miami Dolphins. Again, I have no idea how I'm going to do this one. I feel like they're going to want Tua, right? That's why they're sitting at the 5. You know, maybe they'll trade up for him. We don't know, but I feel like their dream pick would be Tua. But at the same time, Joe Burrow, they're coming in here, the Dolphins at 5. I don't know. I mean, you want a quarterback. I think Tua's obviously makes sense. You're not going to get Joe Burrow. The Bengals are getting him, but who doesn't want Joe Burrow? If you need a quarterback, I guess he is the dream pick, but I think it's more realistic Tua. Next up at 11, here they have the 11th pick, and this is the New York Jets. I have the Jets here with Andrew Thomas and Jeffrey Okudah. You're going to see a lot of repeat players because obviously everybody wants the same players. I put Okudah and Thomas here. I think, I don't know. I feel like they need a tackle. Andrew Thomas, like I said, is the best tackle in my eyes, so that's why he comes in here. And with all the other teams that need tackles early before them, he could easily be picked, and all the big 3 can honestly go. You know, they got the Cardinals, you got the Browns, maybe the Giants, maybe the Dolphins. All those teams could potentially take one. So I also put on Jeffrey Okudah. They need a cornerback. He's the best cornerback in the draft. I actually think Okudah could fall. When you look at some of the teams before them, for example, the Bengals, they're taking Burrow. I have Chase Young. They could go number 2 to the Redskins. 3, say the Lions. You know, I don't know. Maybe they trade back. Whatever they do. 4th, I can see the Giants taking Isaiah Simmons. 5th, Tua. So now you're out of the top 5 and he's still available. You know, if the Panthers wanted Eric Brown, then he's, you know, they're not taking their corner. So there's a lot of ways you could fall. Not saying it's going to happen, but you never know. Next up here is the Broncos, and I have CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy. Now, they need a wide receiver, so I put the 2 best ones on here. So maybe those are realistic. They're only at 15. I mean, they're not impossible. You never know, but I feel like there's 2 teams before them that probably going to take a wide receiver. So Henry Ruggs is the guy I believe will actually get selected there. You know, there's going to be other options. T. Higgins may be available, but I think they're going to go with Henry Ruggs. I did it in my latest mock for the entire NFL in the first round. I gave them Henry Ruggs, so there you go. Next up here is the Oakland Raiders, or they're not Oakland anymore, but the Raiders. Picking at number 12, I have Okudah and Jerry Jeudy. You're going to see these guys a lot. Okudah, you know, the best cornerback. Everybody wants him. You could fall. You never know. And then Jerry Jeudy, who actually could be selected around here. I'm thinking like 8, 9, potentially to like, you know, right here, 12, 13. So who knows? You never know. Next up is the Chargers. These aren't supposed to be realistic. Like, they're dream draft picks. Next up, the Chargers. They have the 6th pick in the draft. So, honestly, this one was kind of hard to do, too. I guess I put 3 options on here, but they're probably going to get one of them if they want one. Tua, because I think the Dolphins may take Tua before them. They may want a quarterback. Obviously, everybody wants Joe Burrow, so I don't think they're going to get him, though. And then Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle. That's really their 2 needs, and I feel like the most realistic one may be Andrew Thomas and Tua. They're definitely not going to get Joe Burrow, but those are the dream picks. Next up is the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans need an edge rusher. They simply need an edge rusher. And the 2 guys at their pick, which is the 2nd round at 57, I feel like the 2 guys that you'd be looking at, that's kind of a stretch, but are edge rushers, would be Julian Okwara and Curtis Weaver. Now, honestly, I'm not in love with Julian Okwara, but at the 57th pick, that's pretty solid, especially needing an edge rusher. You're getting a talented player. Same thing with Curtis Weaver. So, you never know. At number 13, or the 13th pick in the draft, we have the Indianapolis Colts, and their dream draft would consist of Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, and Andrew Thomas. I can't tell you how many teams have that same lineup, but I think it makes sense. You know, I think that Phillip Rivers is going to be done. Not Phillip Rivers, excuse me, Jacoby Brissett. I feel like he's a placeholder. I don't know why I said that. So you need a quarterback. Maybe Tua falls. Now, potentially, I think you could throw Justin Herbert in here. I think they'd love Justin Herbert, and he also could go before the 13th pick. And then, obviously, needing a tackle. You know, Thomas is up there. You could put Wirfs in here. Honestly, you could put any of the big 3. You could throw any of the big 3 in here. Okay, the big 3. Jedrick Wills, Tristan Wirfs, and Andrew Thomas. I almost forgot. Next up, the Tennessee Titans, who pick at number 29. I have them looking at Christian Fulton because they do need a cornerback. Like, I'm not going to go Okudah at 29 because I think that's way too far. That's just stretching it out too far. But offensive tackle, I put any of the big 3. Again, I don't see them falling that far. So maybe a guy like Mekhi Becton, who could potentially go somewhere in the 20s. I know he's like ranked at 40, but hey, I can see him going a lot earlier than that. So maybe a Becton. And for the tackle, obviously they would love the big 3 because that's a dream. And then Christian Fulton, who I think is actually possible that he could fall. Next up at 20, or the 20th pick in the draft for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I have Derek Brown and Javon Kinlaw. They need some defensive line help. Derek Brown is a beast. 20, I can't stretch it that far. I mean, if you're like 11 or 10, maybe. I don't know if you can stretch to 20, but hey, you know what? It's fun. Now, Javon Kinlaw, that one's more realistic to me. Now, I still think he'll go before 20. I really do. But we're talking about dreams here, and I think it's more realistic than Derek Brown. So, hey, You never know, Javon Kinlaw. Now, next up is our Detroit Lions. This one was kind of hard. I put Chase Young because I feel like for a lot of the community or a lot of Lions fans, we look at this and we say Chase Young is a dream pick. We would love for the Redskins to select something else. And then for the other half, I feel like it's trade back. I think there's other people mixed in there like, oh, just take Simmons at 3, take Andrew Thomas, take Jerry Jeudy. I'm not with that group, but I'm sure people say that. So I think the two realistic dreams here for the Lions are potentially taking Chase Young because the Redskins don't, and trading back and getting Isaiah Simmons, Derek Brown, or Jeffrey Okudah. I think those are the two realistic dreams. I don't know how it's a realistic dream, but whatever. Next up is the Chicago Bears, and they might need a quarterback, so I put Jordan Love. Okay, he's probably like the fourth quarterback, third or fourth that's going to go off, depending on where Justin Herbert goes. Tua and Burrow will probably go first too. And then I also put Tyler Biadasz, which is the offensive lineman for Wisconsin, who I think is flying up the draft radar, and he will. I think some people project him to go second, third round. I could see him going late first, early second. So Tyler is here. I think he's going to be a starter day one. I really do. I think he'll be a starter day one and need the O-line help. So boom. Next up, we have the Green Bay Packers, who no one likes, so we're going to skip them. Okay, fine, we'll do it. The Green Bay Packers, they pick at number 30. They need a linebacker, inside linebacker, so Kenneth Murray. Obviously, some people want Queen. I put Murray. They need a wide receiver. They need to know about Aaron Rodgers, who no one likes. They need T. Higgins. All right, move on. I'm sorry. They make me lose all my energy. Next up is the Minnesota Vikings, who pick at number 25. And I think for them, the big three offensive tackles, once again, Christian Fulton potentially needing a cornerback. Becton, maybe Mekhi Becton. Just offensive tackles in general. I feel like those big three, though, isn't going to fall. But you never know. I mean, you just don't know. We don't know how the draft is going to work out. Again, they're dream picks. Christian Fulton, I think, you would look at just a little bit above their pick. But, hey, you know what? It's a dream. Maybe you reach a little bit. You know what? You just venture out and you take your man Christian Fulton. I don't know. Next, come on, man. Next up is the Seattle Seahawks, who select at 27 in the draft, and I have Gross Matos here. Like I said before, for another team, I think it was the Steelers, who I put in the second round at like 49. That's an insane stretch, but I don't think this one is an insane stretch for Seattle. You could be saying this ain't really a dream pick. I think it is. I think Gross Matos is one of the best edge rushers. The Seahawks need one. And if you get this guy falling at 27, I would definitely take him. They may not. I don't know. But I just think that's a good pick. I don't know. I just think it is. Next up, the Arizona Cardinals. They sit at number 8. They want an offensive tackle. They can take one. I mean, really. Jedrick Wills is pretty much mocked there for every single person I've seen so far. Andrew Thomas, maybe. I guess Tristan Wirfs if you want him. Some people put Tristan Wirfs above both of them. And then Chase Young. Obviously, if Chase Young falls, then they would love to have the pass rusher, but I don't see the Redskins doing that, or the Lions, or the Giants. But, yeah, it's fun. Next up, we have the Rams. They select at 52 in the second round. There's options. You need some D-line help. I put Javon Kinlaw. I don't think that's going to happen. Now, this one could. Curtis Weaver. I could see Curtis Weaver falling in the second round out of the edge rusher out of Boise State. And then finally, I just lost it. Mekhi Becton, offensive tackle. I think he could be like the fourth or fifth offensive tackle to go off the board. And boom, I think those last two are realistic more than Kinlaw. Like the first one's like super unrealistic, but it's a dream, so it can be. I'm not going to explain anymore. Nope, moving on. Next up is the 49ers. They pick either at 31 or 32, depending on who wins the Super Bowl. I'm going to go with Grant Delpit. They need a safety. Xavier McKinney seems to be the guy that's probably going to be available there. Grant Delpit, though, I think is a better safety. So there you go. Next up, New Orleans Saints, they pick at 24. I think Kenneth Murray, but I also think they're going to have an option to take him, so I don't know if that's necessarily a dream one. Jerry Jeudy to give another weapon. I think they would love that. T. Higgins. They have a lot of people on here. Jordan Love or Justin Herbert, because I don't know what the future looks like for an old Drew Brees who's like 42 years old. Don't know what the future looks like. Could potentially be Teddy Bridgewater's next quarterback, and if it's not, could be one of those two guys. He's also going to be a free agent, so I don't know. I mean, there's like 5 dudes on there. You pick one. Next up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who I think at number 14 could be looking at the big 3 offensive tackles once again: Jedrick Wills, Andrew Thomas, and Tristan Wirfs. I think those are actually realistic. And finally, Justin Herbert or Tua Tagovailoa. I think all 5 of those dudes they would be really, really happy to get. You're getting either a quarterback or you're getting a beast offensive tackle. Now the question is, will Jameis Winston be back? I don't know. I really don't know if Jameis Winston is going to be back. It depends on how much money he asks for, I think. Next up, the Carolina Panthers pick at 7. I put Jeff Okudah and Derek Brown. Those are kind of realistic. Those are probably the most realistic out of this whole list, honestly, so that's kind of sad. Next up at 16, I put, for the Atlanta Falcons, I put Isaiah Simmons. Now, you're probably like, that's not going to happen. Well, I was looking at some mock drafts for the Atlanta Falcons, and some of them had them taking Isaiah Simmons at 16. I don't think he's going to fall that far. But you know what? If they can dream, then I'm going to put it on here. Okay? So there you go. Live your dream out. Next up, the Cowboys. Grant Delpit. Also, I don't think this one's maybe a dream. Okay. Secondary players really in general here will fit. Jeff Okuda obviously would be perfect. I don't think he'll fall that far. Maybe Christian Fulton again. Maybe a CJ Henderson, but I don't think that's a dream either. So I put Delpit. They would love to have Delpit. I'm sure there are other teams that could potentially take him. I think the Browns are an actual threat at number 10 to take Grant Delpit. I'm just saying they need a safety. So there you go. Next up at 21, we have the Eagles. I put CeeDee Lamb. The Eagles need a wide receiver. CeeDee Lamb may be the best wide receiver coming out of this draft. Very simple. We'll keep it simple. Next up, Washington Redskins. We're about to finish this thing off. They had the second pick in the draft. Again, this is kind of useless. Chase Young, who they can take if they want. I don't need to put Andrew Thomas on here. That's not a dream pick. That's literally, you have any option you want other than Joe Burrow. So I put Joe Burrow on here. Question mark. I don't know. Maybe they want to replace Dwayne Haskins. I have no idea. And then finally, the Giants to pick at number 4. Once again, we're kind of stuck in a dumb situation here. I guess Chase Young, potentially, if they pass on him, the Redskins pass on him, the Lions pass on him, then you get Chase Young or Isaiah Simmons. Again, maybe if the Lions pass on. I think Isaiah Simmons is a really good one there. Now, I did skip a team. This is the Chiefs. I don't know who the Chiefs' dream draft pick would be. I really couldn't think of one. Sitting where they are, either 31 or 32, I feel like running back would be really good. I think J.K. Dobbins would be perfect for them. I really didn't know where to go with that one, so you guys come in on the comments below. But also let me know what you guys think of the video. If you guys disagree with any of these, that's cool. I really don't think there's any way to get this perfect. And if you're a fan of one of these teams, like, oh, that's not my dream pick, I'm sorry. Comment below what your dream pick is. I don't know. Y'all, I'm not perfect, but I tried. Okay? I tried to make a cool, different video. So if you enjoyed it, let me know, please. Like button. Never asked for it, but if you want to. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.